What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Podcast. We are here today to take a look at SummerSlam from 2024 that hailed live from the Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. And it's a very special show today. If you're watching on YouTube, you see I'm not alone. We have the one and only Elvis Escobar from Enter the Lab. I'm very happy you're here. We were going to do a prediction show, but I'm actually kind of happy we're doing a review show. Because there's actually something else that I want to talk to you about too. So I should have wrote this down, but I just not reminded myself. So make sure you remind me later on. Just like a little sports thing that I think possibly they can maybe take over. And obviously with Into the Lab, you guys cover sports and kind of an influx of things. So definitely want your take on that. But my friend, I'm so happy to have you back, dude. How are you? And welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. I feel very special. Last time we did this was for WrestleMania. We had a great review show. It went probably 2 hours. We had to split it up into a couple episodes. But yeah, back reviewing. I'm glad we did a review, not a preview, because obviously I love the results of what happened and two major, 1 year, two major PLEs that we're reviewing. So I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, bro. No, thank you. Thank you. I wouldn't have anyone else to review, especially like I said, a show like this because there's a lot that went on. It just kind of like floating on Twitter off and on. Like I said, if you guys know me, I'm not really big on social media, but I'm one of those like I pop on and pop off types. But Twitter is my go-to when I do have that urge for social media. But especially with wrestling too, I just feel like it's I don't know, just interesting to see the landscape. But there was some mixed reviews on SummerSlam, and a lot of people were upset with the amount of like interferences and the, I guess, angle heavy nature of the show. So as we go through, I'll kind of get your take on, of course, each individual match. But before we do that, definitely want to let you plug your show, man, and talk about Enter the Lab and get that out there before we get into the bulk of everything.
Appreciate it. Enter the Lab. Won't bore you with too many details. Me and myself and Fort Sama, we go live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Sometimes 8:05 or 8:10. But on YouTube, Enter the Lab, on podcasts, wherever you get your audio from. We try to mix it up. We try to have guests on all the time. We would love to have you on. Maybe the next Survivor Series kind of week. Maybe we'll plan something to have you on. That'd be cool. We have guests on. We talk about what's going on in the world. We don't take ourselves too serious. We like to have that friendly banter. We've been doing it now 4 years, which is crazy. We started during the pandemic, 2020, which most podcasts started because we're all alone, bored in our houses. Yeah. Right. So it's been fun. It allows me to be creative. It allows me to meet different people and talk and also talk to one of my best friends every week at least. He doesn't live in the state of Florida anymore. He lives in Savannah. So it's a great way to connect, and we try to, have fun and have great conversations. So if you subscribe, listen to us, message us. And if you have something interesting that you want to talk about, we're always welcome to new guests and whatever you guys want to talk about. So
yeah, man, facts. And the biggest thing, especially with podcasting, is consistency. So I give you guys credit for that, man. That's the hardest thing, especially working with two schedules. Sometimes with me, it's a blessing and a curse that I'm primarily by myself. Because I'm like, I have some extra time, I can just pop on.
Which is harder.
But sometimes, and obviously, like I had like a little like absent period. I think it was like 6 months or something. But it's just one of those things where it's hard to stay consistent with. So yeah, man, I always respected that out of you guys. So props to that. Yeah, man. But yeah, I'd love to pop on. So yeah, we can maybe figure something out in the
that'd be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah, dude, me too. But today we are here to talk about SummerSlam. This show, and like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good show overall. I'm not going to say it was one of the best SummerSlams ever, but for what I expected going into it, it achieved that, if that makes sense. So I wasn't going in there thinking like, oh, each match is going to be a 5-star classic. They're going to wrestle like 20 plus minutes. It's going to be like a mat classic, shit like that, and going to get clean finishes. I expected the majority of the matches to not have a clean finish or to have some type of interference and things like that. So for me, I don't know if you're either in the mindset that you weren't going in with that mindset and that's why you're let down, or you still thought that way and you were, I don't know. I just don't know if like how a fan could expect that and be upset still. And if that's the case, then why did you even watch? So to me, I pretty much got what I expected. Yeah, like there's some things I was kind of like, what the fuck on, but it's to be expected, but as a whole, I think this is probably like a B plus, A minus card for me. Maybe that's a little bit high, maybe B plus, but overall, I think it was a good show and a good environment too. Like everything flowed pretty well. And again, I respect the fact, and I'm not gonna try to do it too much here, but I respect and I'll always appreciate that we only get 5 to 7 matches on these PLEs, and I'm not sitting there watching pay-per-views or PLEs over until like midnight. Now they did have a crazy 3-hour pre-show, but I didn't watch it, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So that had no concern for mine. So what did you think, man, overall? And then obviously we'll get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I agree with you. Overall, looking at the card, usually when you get either a basic PLE that we're calling them now, or like whether it's the in between, the main, this is the second main PLE of the WrestleMania, but as a event, every match had a great storyline, and it wasn't like a bathroom break for any match. So it was quality over quantity. I love basically every storyline, and then if it didn't if the storyline didn't intrigue you, at least something was going to go on in the match that was intriguing, whether it's a Money in the Bank cash in, whether it was interference or somebody coming back. So every match had a little bit of something, and we will get into it as far as the good and the bad of maybe too much interference and stuff like that, which I think that's what they're going for. But every match for me, storyline, they built it, long-term booking. We're seeing it in the new era of Triple H, of longer storylines, months go on, and it doesn't get boring, and it's not a storyline just for the sake of it. So it's actually building, and it's having different things take place and keeping you intrigued. So I liked every match for me had something that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's all they can ask for, and that's all we can ask for as fans. Just kind of get what we expect, but still be surprised. And as weird a way or as weird as that may sound, but like going knowing that, like, okay, like there's a pretty good chance like a Roman Reigns is going to be here, but still being surprised. When we get to that match, I'll kind of talk about something that I maybe would have tweaked, but yeah, man, overall, like I was very, very pleased with the show. As I said off the I guess recording before we officially went live, I will bitch about Peacock because I don't know if maybe it's me. Maybe I should just be on time for things, but I do have a life, and there are sometimes some things that I want to do.
Dude.
Yeah, so crazy, right? But there's some things that I want to do, and for instance, a show, a PLE that has started, I'm not able to watch right on time. So, and I will be kind of maybe doing a synopsis later on, or a separate maybe tomorrow. But I went to TNA's. They had a taping last night in Tampa. They actually had it Friday and Saturday. It was from like 6 to 11, the time frame was. Didn't actually end up going until 11, thank God. But yeah, so long story short, like I was not able to be at home watching it live. So my thought process was, okay, it's about an hour and a half drive for me back. I'll just put it on my phone and kind of listen to it on the way back. And then obviously watch it full-fledged when I get home. You can't do that with Peacock. You can't rewind. You can't go back to the beginning. It's like, or you can. So it's like a certain amount of time that you can go back. So for instance, when I turned it on, I think they were like halfway through the main event, and they give you like a little space bar at the bottom. So like, okay, best, so I'll just like manually drag it back. No, it doesn't take you to the beginning of the show. It takes you like halfway back. It's like an hour or maybe an hour and a half back or some shit. So it took me to, I think, Bailey and Nia Jax match. So I just started from there, and then God forbid I closed the app, so I went to go back because I had to get gas. So I went to turn it back on, and then it was back on the press conference. So I'm like, just fuck it. Oh. So then I get home. I'm sorry, everyone, but it's gonna bring me to my point. I get home and this shit. So I'm like, okay, like at this point, it's 1:30. I'm sitting down to watch it. Shit, you still can't watch it. You have to wait until the next day because the full thing is uploaded. They had Summerslam all the way up until last year. Still couldn't watch Summerslam from this year until like, I think for me it was like 9:00 this morning. So I don't know. I can't remember offhand when their deal with Peacock will be over. But I'm very thankful that they are moving to Netflix with Raw. Yes, I don't think they're taking their full tape library and things like that and their PLEs, but it's just a good sign for me. I'm excited about that. Of course, they'll be getting off of Fox, which is a good sign too, because the blacking out of the screens whenever there's like a curse word or a sign that they don't like, it ruins the show.
Tough watch.
It completely
Yeah.
ruins it. So that's my spiel for that. I fucking hate Peacock. I thought it had gotten better, but it hasn't, and I still think it's stupid that there's seasons and not years. So season 36 of SummerSlam,
Right?
it's like
That is
fucking
weird.
stupid. It's rewatch
I did see that recently when I went to go rewatch it today. I'm like, I don't know what season it is. What is this? I only know what year it is, so I had to find it. Yeah, you're right. It is.
And besides WrestleMania, like I don't even know, like, oh yeah, it was SummerSlam 27. Like I don't fucking know. I just know it was like SummerSlam 1997. So what? It's just
exactly.
I don't know. It's
everything
just,
with wrestling is the year. Like that's how you remember wrestling. 1997, 2000, 2001. That's that's such a little thing for like nerds like us to pay attention to. But it's like, if you're gonna create a platform, you make it for the nerds, right? Like you make it for people like us.
Right, because then I am that person. If it's too frustrating, I'm just like, fuck it. I'll just move on to something else.
I'm over it.
And then maybe go back later, but whatever. Depends on what it is. But yeah, man. So the show itself, again, was in Cleveland, Ohio. I was debating when it first got announced in Cleveland to make the trek out there, but
I thought about it too, because my wife is from Ohio, and we would have a place to stay, so it wouldn't cost me as much to go, and I would probably buy cheapest available ticket just to be there. I did think about it, but I think when I first looked, it was pretty expensive, and then it went down some dollars or more affordable. But I try not to go to Ohio as much as I can, to be honest, between me and you. That's why I didn't go.
I went there twice this year for work.
I seen that you were there recently.
Yeah, I was not impressed. I mean, it's fine or whatever, but like there's like really nothing out there. And like they have no sweet tea. Like it got to be like a running joke with us. Like
I did see that.
We started we started keeping track because it was like we got to 7 restaurants and it was like 6 out of 7 didn't have sweet tea. 1 had unsweet tea. So I was just like, everyone has unsweet tea and they're like, oh, we can give you simple syrup. Like the fuck am I gonna do simple syrup? Like I don't want to mix it myself. Like I'm not good at that shit. Like I don't like. You know what to do, so it's like I don't know.
Good to know you're a sweet tea snob. So next time you come over, I'll make sure I'll have a whole gallon for you.
I love me some sweet tea. Not that it's the best for you, but yeah. So the important matter here, SummerSlam, Cleveland, Ohio. I believe they had like 55,000 or some shit like that in attendance, which is always impressive. I think that's how many wrestlers were from Ohio itself too. So that was interesting as we went along throughout the match or throughout the night rather. But Liv Morgan facing off against Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan, of course, going in as your women's world champion, defending against Rhea Ripley. But the story here, as everyone knows, was the love triangle that is and was Dom, Liv, and Rhea. And again, if you guys know me, I don't go through shit hold by hold. I don't have the attention span for that. The main thing in this match, though, I will say there was a really cool moment where Liv hit her, so her finishing move is called the Oblivion, right? So she hit just a beautiful Oblivion, like maybe midway or kind of more towards the end of the match, and that had me. I was like, yo, that was just fucking beautiful. Like her execution was just so well done. So props to her for that. And I think as a whole, between her character development and her in-ring work, I think Liv has just really just knocked it out of the park, especially this past year and some change, maybe closer to 2 years, but definitely the past year for sure. And I'm super stoked to see what they do with her going forward and her character development going forward. If they're gonna make her an alpha or if Dom's gonna be the alpha, because of course the ending of the match we did have, and there was a moment too. Kind of want to pick your brain on here because I saw some mixed feedback. There was a moment where Liv was, I think it was like a suicide dive. Yeah, it was a suicide dive. Liv was going to hit on Dom on Rhea, and Dom was standing right there. Dom pushed Rhea out of the way.
That just happened as I'm watching it now.
Shit,
I have it going
crazy.
on in the background. It just happened.
That's crazy. So Dom pretty much like kind of sacrificed himself for Liv. People were like, if they knew and Dom knew he was going to end up causing Rhea at the end and kind of turning his back on Rhea, why end up doing that? And the same thing for when Rhea was going to hit Liv Morgan with the chair in the match. Some people again were like, and the feedback that I read too, kind of with the mixed reviews of the show overall as a whole, was that there was like that dumb babyface syndrome shit that people talk about. And to me, like, I don't, maybe I'm naive on or biased on a couple of these, but I, especially with Rhea and Punk that we'll get to later, I didn't see it with Rhea. I think with Rhea, yes, she had the match won and she could have gotten the 3 count after she hit the first Riptide, but she's pissed. She's incensed. She is a woman scorned, right? She is mad at Liv for, first of all, injuring her, right? And making her have to relinquish her title, take all this time off. Now Dom is conflicted, so this time off, it's one of the things where like you can't even trust a former friend of yours, right? She's out there flirting with Dom, getting pretty much infiltrating Judgment Day. So yeah, Rhea's gonna be pissed. So yes, she could have sealed the deal, won the match right there, but she wanted to go that extra mile. Potentially hit Liv. That's when Dominic obviously stops her. People are like, why would he do that? And my thing, I have a pretty simple answer for it. My thing is, Dom knew obviously he was going to help Liv at some point when he needed to, right? So why would he want his new girl to get hit with a steel chair? Like, same thing with you, right? If your wife was about to get hit with a chair, you would go in there and stop her. Like, even if you, like, it's just the same thing. Like, you would do what you got to do to protect your girl, right? So that's what he was doing. So
when
to
wrestling makes sense, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that happen so far-fetched where it's like, all right, I get why you want to do it, but it doesn't make sense in the real world. That's something it literally made sense. Stop somebody so they could not be disqualified to win the belt. 100% reality. It makes sense.
Yeah, in the moment it made sense because he's telling Rhea, hey, you're not going to win the title like this. Don't do it. And in the end, looking back on it, it's like, yeah, he didn't want Liv to get beat and demolished with a steel chair because obviously Rhea is pissed. In that moment, she's not thinking straight because clearly she had because she even thanked him. She's like, you're right. Thank you. Like, you're right. She had a moment of, I'm just going to beat this woman's ass. And she's like, okay, yeah, let me win my title and then go from there. So the ending of the match came. And it was kind of, I think I even mentioned this in my preview show, but I don't know if it was for this one or not, but it was a situation where he slid the chair in the ring. It was kind of like, what is he doing type of situation, but then Dominic distracted the referee. Liv Morgan hit the Oblivion onto Rhea Ripley, onto the steel chair, throw it out, got the 1, 2, 3. And it was, I just think it was so well done because Liv clearly wasn't expecting Dom to help her, and I think that's the vibe that we should have gotten from it. That's why I'm very intrigued to see what happens on Monday. She was pretty much surprised, just celebrating out at ringside. Then Dominic walks over. Rhea's, kind of regathering herself in the ring. Dominic walks over to Liv, picks her up, and then just kisses her. And I think, and Liv is shocked. Obviously, Liv is like, like as Dominic's bringing her up, Liv is shocked. And then, of course, after he kisses her, she's even more just in heaven. They skip to the back and do whatever they're gonna do. We did get follow up today from Dominic. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. He did take a picture. I think it had to be in like a hotel room or something.
Oh, I did see the picture. Yeah,
he did the picture of the chicken tenders and like she knows me so well or some shit like that. But he's just I fucking love Dom and I have it right here actually. He's such an asshole. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up really quick. But
he has the most heat in WWE right now.
He does, and it's just so funny to me. It's just so,
and he's had it for a good year. It's been like, when's the last time you've seen somebody go that quickly from, I think when he first started off with Rey Mysterio tag team, like he didn't have a lot of, there's a picture.
That's the picture right there.
Loves chicken tendies, as he says. Man. When's the last time you've seen somebody go from so plain generic to no personality to all of a sudden have one full year of heat? Every time he touches the mic, they boo right even before he speaks. So he's done a phenomenal job in his role for what he's done. And I'm a big fan of Dom Mysterio for sure.
Me too. And I love the fact that it was definitive. I didn't want, and I think that's what I said in my prediction show, I didn't want it to be, I didn't want them to drag us on. I didn't want them to be like, I think that's where I brought the scenario, like him sliding in the chair in the ring and it being in the middle of them and then being like, was he really helping Liv or was it for Rhea? I didn't want any of that bullshit. I just wanted to be definitive, and to me it was. Obviously it was. So I really like that. I like Rhea's expression. She didn't lose her mind right off the bat. She didn't go crazy. She didn't run after them. It was kind of a mixture of hurt, shock, anger, and just like, what the fuck, all at once. And I think her reaction on Monday, I honestly wouldn't even have her come out on Monday. I get why you would want to, but I would have Liv and Dom possibly even open up the show. If not open the show, then start off the second hour. And maybe even have Dominic come out first or have them come out as a couple. But man, I just think that the sliminess that you can get out of them two as a couple is just going to be perfect. We'll talk about Judgment Day a little bit later once we get to Damien Priest and kind of how this ties in. But I love this new version of Dom, and I think pun intended, I think he's going to be the Dom going forward. I don't think he's going to be, I don't think it's going to be, mommy's little bitch or nothing like that. I think he's going to be the man. I don't expect him to be some macho, like, oh, I'm here to save the day type shit, but I think it's going to be a different version of him, and I'm really here for it. So that's my long-winded kind of feelings about it. So what do you say?
Great breakdown. Hey, love it. I love that I could fill in. This is your show. So, yeah, the storyline is great. Like I said, with Dom, his angle individually has been great. Obviously linked with Rhea. Now that it's on and I'm watching, I'm going to try to do this every topic, every match we do. I'm going to try to put the match on just so it's fresh in my head. Is right now they're working the shoulder. Obviously,
I meant to bring up the shoulder. Yeah.
Liv put Rhea on the shelf for what 2-3 months, whatever it was, 2 months. Mm-hmm. They worked that angle in, and you got and you love like when we talk about wrestling making sense as far as a storyline in the match, not on Raw, whatever. It's like make it be real. Rhea's coming back from an injury, and what would you do? You would work on that shoulder. Liv worked on the shoulder. You see her popping in a couple times, so it makes it like, all right, she's a little debilitated and she's compromised. And they did that a couple, and they didn't overdo it. They did it, I think 2 to 3 times where she popped it in and a little stoppage, but they didn't milk it.
The first one was on the announce table, right?
Yes.
Is that the one you just saw?
Yeah. Yeah, and then the second one was in the corner that just happened. Actually, she just
in that turnbuckle.
Popped it back in, and I love that angle. Dom being there. Liv has come such a far way as similar to Dom, where she was lost. The Riot Squad group that she was in. The two of her group members get fired, and Rhea Riot or
Ruby Riot.
Ruby, she goes on to AEW, and then she comes back, but she was by herself and she was kind of lost. And she has the image, and in wrestling, let's be honest, just like movies, just like anything, we want to look at good looking people, and Liv Morgan is a very good looking girl, and she's short, but she's also looks athletic. She had to have time to develop as a person promo wise. Her promo is light years ahead of what she was even a year ago or even 6 months ago. So credit to her for developing. I think she wants to be an actor and all that stuff. Man, just the Dominic angle with Liv. Obviously, it's getting a little spicy with the whole, feels a little Attitude Era like with the kissing and the love. But they, unlike the Vince McMahon era of the 2000s with an angle like this, they didn't get too crazy, weird, and creepy about it. Yeah. It was done very well, where a lot of things, what Vince McMahon didn't do is a lot of it is unsaid. Like, you don't have to have them kissing, making out, doing weird sexual things all the time. It's always implied, right? And I think that's what Triple H gets as far as the creative. It's like a lot of it was developed well with the storyline. Are they hooking up? Are they together? Yes, they kissed that one time a month ago, which really made this what it was. But I think they did a great job. I had, I forget what you had prediction-wise, but I had Liv Morgan winning only because I had a feeling they would do this longer term. I knew it wasn't going to just end here. I knew they wanted to take advantage of this. Hasn't gotten to the max out. We're not tired of this storyline yet necessarily. So I knew they would, Liv would win, and we would have a little bit, Dom, whatever he would choose, which he did interfere in the match. So I knew they would want to try to prolong it a little bit, and I think they did a great job. Got the chair involved, distraction, Oh, beautiful execution on her finisher on the chair.
Oh
Nailed the
yeah,
head
dude. Yeah,
on the
yeah,
chair like perfectly.
yeah.
And
And I
I
was
thought it was I
impressed
thought
too
it
with
was
the way
great.
she slid the chair out. Like, because sometimes like you see wrestlers like they kind of like slightly panic, they throw it and it bounces off the ropes, it comes back, and then like the referee like it's like the awkward, like because they're trying to do
Great.
a quick lock and then caught. Just
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that impressed me so much. She just like quickly, it was just like
So
a I
much
don't know.
going on to remember
Yeah,
that. Like that's why like
yeah.
I'm always impressed by the little things in wrestling like
Mm-hmm.
we are. It's like the little things where it's like there's so much going on in a match where you have to know what you have to set up for. You're obviously tired, exhausted, and then the little things, get rid of the chair. Make sure
Exactly.
that the referee when he comes back doesn't see it. So those are
Exactly.
such little moments. I thought the match and it wasn't a long match. It was efficient. I just started the match when we started here. It's 10, 15 minutes. That's perfect. 15-minute match. Got the job done. Showed that Rhea Ripley was compromised with the shoulder. So you could say that's why she lost. You could always obviously say the reason why she also lost was because of Dom. So there's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And this will go on. I think the next PLE is in Berlin, Germany. What is that called? Bash at
Yeah,
the
Bash in Berlin.
in Berlin. Yeah.
Bash
So
in
I think
Berlin.
that's
Yeah.
probably where I would assume Rhea Ripley wins the title, maybe at Bash. Maybe.
I
I
I
mean,
think I think we may get for whatever reason, and again, maybe it's standing out to me because I'm trying to go to it, but the Bad Blood pay per view that they're having in October on October
oh yeah.
5th, it's a little ways out, but it's right around the corner too. So I feel like a
And
lot
I
of
think
the
that's the one
matches
they're trying to
are
promote
getting
more than
extended.
the Bash. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. The
So
Bad
I
Blood.
feel like
You're right.
yeah, I feel like this one would be just, and I don't know why, but like just the Bad Blood name. I love it. And I think it fits a
Mm,
lot of feuds that are going on. So I think this one obviously could get extended to then. But also I feel like we can, depending on how long they take it, they could potentially get a Hell in a Cell match out of it too. Because I think it would
no
obviously
interference.
fit
Yeah.
Rhea style, and then Liv is fucking crazy. So I think it'd be really fun to see the brutality from Rhea and the craziness of Liv in a cell. And then obviously Dom is gonna
Good point.
be is he gonna be in the cage? Is he gonna like you there's just a lot you can do with it. And so they could possibly extend it maybe even out the Survivor series. Which I don't know. It just depends on the mileage that they want to get out of it and the direction and just the
Yeah.
longevity that they want to keep Dom and Liv together too. But I think they knocked it out of the park. And then this is what I kind of wanted to bring up to you as well regarding this is the first time we saw it in this match, the referee cam. I don't know if you noticed it, but the referees are wearing a video, like a camera in there as an earpiece essentially. And I just thought it was really cool. I'm happy they didn't like flash over to it a lot during the match and really break up the flow of the match. But I think a couple of the replays we showed, like one of them was when Dominic and Rhea were kind of just struggling over the chair. So we got to see the referee's point of view from that. And I just think it's really cool. And I kind of wanted your opinion. Do you think say what you want about Vince, but he did have a lot of good ideas. And with the XFL way back when, I'm pretty certain was the originator of I forget what it's called, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like that spider cam, that can that they have in the
Yep.
NFL where it goes over the field. I'm pretty confident he was the one who kind of came up with that and or at least executed it and used it first in the XFL.
Yeah.
So WWE is innovative in some ways. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that they invented this or anything crazy, but I think it's pretty cool, and I don't see why other referees wouldn't want to do it. And I think it would actually hold a lot of more referees more accountable because it's like like
Yeah.
oh like when you're watching a play and it's like how you're telling me you're looking right at it and you're telling me you didn't see it, so you can literally see what they see. So just kind of what your thoughts on that. And I know we're taking a lot of time on this opening match,
Yeah.
but they can go on.
I mean, it's the most intriguing storyline. That's why they had it lead off
Yeah.
the pay-per-view, which should have been. But yeah, love the camera. They didn't. Now that I'm looking, the second match with Sami, they didn't have the ref wearing the video, so that obviously they're picking and choosing when they did it. This match they did it, and then they did it with Seth Rollins. So they're not
Yeah.
doing it every match, which
Testing it
is
out because that's a
fine.
lot of equipment to wear too.
Yeah, it kind of looked awkward when I first saw it without because
Yeah.
I was at a party. We talked off before recording. I was at a party last night, so I had no audio, just watched it. So I didn't hear what that was or explaining it, but obviously I understood it was a camera. Yeah, love the angles. It just gives another angle of stuff that you could see in the ring that you normally wouldn't get from a guy on the apron. The cameramen don't go on the apron as much in a not as much as in Raw, SmackDown. So different angle. Love that. Yeah, I love the different production things that they're doing, and they're willing to try things out. And hey, if it sucks, they could easily, just like all of us can, go on Twitter and see if people like it. And if people don't like it, that doesn't necessarily mean you scrap it, but at least you could get like a voice or a good vote of, hey, did this work or didn't it work? So try things out, be new. And that's what I love about this new era in wrestling. It's like new things, camera angles, entrances with the whole, I love the, to start off, you know, the music that they play when Rhea Ripley came out, every time I think about it, I think of Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. The boom, 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 boom.
Oh,
boom,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I love that. Every time I hear that sound, that audio, I think of WrestleMania. What was that? I don't even know the number. 18, whatever it was. Shawn Michaels.
Stone
Cold with
Cold.
I think Mike Tyson.
That was
it was his
14?
last match.
14,
yeah, okay.
15?
Probably trust your knowledge.
15, I think. I think it's 15.
And every time I think of that, that's when they played it, and them walking to the ring with, and then their music playing. I love that. I hope they don't overdo it. They save it for special moments and special people in their entrances. You know, that's where I'm always like, try new things, but don't overdo it. Exactly. I love that entrance. I love that music. It always brings me back to that time. So production wise, just to wrap up kind of the first match, love what they did. I thought it was pretty flawless as far as match quality with the storyline. Bad Bloods, October 5th, I just looked. Can they milk this for 2 more months? That's when you're starting to say, will this get a little tired? And we'll see as they introduce new things. But if you give me 2 more months of this, I might get annoyed or sick of it, but we'll have to see. So
yeah.
It all depends on the next pay-per-view. For sure.
And I threw SummerSlam on in the background too. It's I just Dom. He's just his smirk, man. Just a piece of shit.
Love it, right? He's so sly.
And the mustache,
so good,
bro.
so
it's
good.
The mustache.
Yeah, the mustache. Oh, with a mullet cut, looking like Eddie Guerrero. Love that too. That's like an homage to it. Yeah,
so great. Awesome. Yeah. The next match we're not going to spend much time on. It was Bron Breakker facing off against your IC champ Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. This match, to me, my opinion, they had a better match at Money in the Bank. This one, it wasn't really about the match, like the match itself that was being told in the ring. It was just more so to get Bron Breakker over. I'm sure you saw his of course, father and uncle Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner were up in the Legend Suite that they had there, which it always tickles me. Just like side note that like celebrities and all these big owners like, oh yeah, I have a luxury suite box. It's like you can't even see the field or the ring. Like you're watching it on the screen. Like I would be more braggadocious. Like, oh, I have front row. You know, like if I'm a millionaire or like a billionaire, like I'd want to sit front row. Why would I sit in a suite that I can't see shit? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just always kind of funny to me. Like why? Like I don't know. Like I get you maybe don't want to be down near us poor peasants, but it's like, bro, like you can't even see the field. So like, why are you even? It's just always strange to me. But yeah, so they were there, but it was cool. No, I say that, but I do like the respect that they gave the legends. It was cool that they had like a suite that they gave them some like respect there. And Cody Rhodes had mentioned in the press conference afterwards that someone had sent out a text pretty much from like upper management that certain legends were going to be there and sent out like pretty much like an attachment of like each legend's bio, like what they're known for and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of new people in the company. And like it's a newer generation. So just to kind of give that respect out there and like, hey, if you pass DDP in the back, this is what he's done. Like, you know, put some respect on his name type thing. So
don't always assume people. Yeah, don't always assume people have been watching wrestling for 20 years and know everything. Like have watched every documentary. So it's good to always constantly educate and pretend that there's new fans, because there are every single year, every single month. Educate and let them know and promote that. That's awesome. They did a great job with that for sure.
For sure. But yeah, that was pretty much the story with this match. Shout out to Sami Zayn for being the guy to, you know, as they say, do the honors for Bron Breakker. But the better match to me was Money in the Bank. This match was it served its purpose. Braun Breaker is a badass. I hope they put him in the babyface role, the good guy role. I think he could be a badass face and just one of those guys, kind of like a Goldberg, get in there, get this shit done with, and be back to the back. And just he's the type of dude that he's just badass, but you can picture like if he would go to the bar afterwards and like just be like a man's man and just like hang out with the dudes and stuff like that. I don't even know if he drinks, but he just pegs me as that kind of guy. You know what I mean? So happy he won the title here. I still think that they should have pulled the trigger in Montreal. I still think it would have been a bigger impact with Sami losing in his home country. But I'm happy they finally pulled the trigger here. What say you?
Yeah, literally the bell just rang on that match just now. I just played it. I think it was.
It's like 5-minute match.
I just started it when you brought it up, and it just ended. So it was under 10 minutes. Which, like I said, quality over quantity is the kind of the whole sense of this PLE. Man, he's so athletic. I'm looking at him now, like he was on
that Frankensteiner he did was just beautiful at one point.
Yeah,
beautiful.
He was on the Pat McAfee show on Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, Thursday. Oh. Yeah, great. If you want to go back and watch some clips or just when he was on for like an hour. Cool dude, played at Kennesaw University, played fullback, was on the Baltimore Ravens like practice squad during COVID, and he made a decision: should I stay with football and go into it, or commit to wrestling? He's 26 years old. The body, he's got the promo, he's got everything. He is a legacy kid with the Steiners. Oh man, I know he's Rick Steiner's son, but man. He looks like Scott Steiner. It's crazy.
He needs to get a DNA test. Like I don't know, bro.
Right?
Like some
he looks way
happen.
Obviously you see he's Rick Steiner's son, like looks wise, but man, the body and everything, his ferocity, his edge is all Scott for sure. He's a dog, literally pun intended. And like you said, Money in the Bank match was his coming out party to everybody that didn't watch NXT, and that was a better quality match. I think that's why they did the quality match there, to just show his skill and all that. And then this one was the payoff. But yeah, I think they did a great job. Sami was a great interim, or what do they call it, between champion WrestleMania now, and
almost like a transitional champion, but not quite.
Yeah, transitional. And I think they did a great job putting it on somebody young. He has the Goldberg edge to it, but I'm a little now that you learn more about Goldberg and how not good of a wrestler he is. I've become a little bit more negative towards Goldberg. Did great for the industry, but as far as in ring, it's like, geez, like have a good match, man. I don't think Goldberg's ever had one.
His comments, it's like bro, like I can appreciate how honest you are. Like he didn't give a shit about wrestling. It was like a second choice for him. Fine. Again, like we were saying earlier, not everyone has to be a diehard fan. Like it is what it is. You know what I mean? But it's like,
but when you're doing it, care about it and take care of people, because that's what wrestling is make sure you guys come out healthy.
Exactly. This isn't the UFC. This isn't MMA. You didn't go in there to like literally fucking like beat a dude's head off, to kick a guy's head off. You know what I mean? Like, not that that was your intention, but it's like, and I get it was 20 plus years ago, but it's like, bro, like, and I get like, to me, I fucking love that. I live for the pettiness between Bret Hart and Goldberg. I love the fact that Bret finds a way. He could be talking about like, oh, it's a beautiful day, except for that one day back in whatever 1999 when fucking Goldberg cost me my career. Like he'll be talking about something completely different, and he'll tie it back to his disdain for Goldberg. And I live for the
Bret looks like he sits there in his living room every single day and just randomly out of nowhere just brings up something that happened in the 90s, like about a wrestler. He has forgotten nothing, and he has resentment. Obviously, him and Sean and all these things, Vince. He has not forgotten about anything that's ever happened in his career. And
it's so great.
Love Bret Hart. He's a legend. But back to, Bron Breakker, there's a lot said that should he be Braun Steiner, but I think they're trying to keep him on his own track, which is fine. The name-wise, keep it. It's but he still has all the wrestling moves and still has the dog that his family had. Like, that edge. So that kind of keeps the legacy alive, and obviously promoting that, I think, will be the next step. I think now that he's champion, now let's talk about his lineage and his family and stuff. I think now let's further develop this, because he's 26, man. If you're under the age of 30 and you've hit the top, meaning he's going to go way further than this, but you're Intercontinental Champion, which is a very prestigious title, to hold at 26 years old, man, strapping a rocket to his back, because he's talented. He's got everything. So he's going to be that next guy, and WWE does it again. Development, promoting, and he's not somebody that got an opportunity. Yeah, he got an opportunity because of his family, but he's taken the opportunity.
He would have regardless. He's one of those. He would have been one of those in NIL talents
without the name. Without the name.
Yeah.
If I didn't know he was who his dad was, who his uncle was, doesn't matter. It's just
look
an
at him
extra thing
like,
you can throw on.
Yeah, be like, oh, of course. How can you not be in wrestling?
Yeah. This guy came from somebody. Like he's a freak of nature. So I love it. I think they did the right job by him, and I'm interested to see where it goes further. So I'm excited for his career.
Me too, man. Me too. Up next, and this one is involving a controversial figure. We have good old U.S. champ Logan Paul defending his title against LA Knight. I'll get into Logan Paul in a minute. The match started off, it was a little bit of a continuation. LA Knight had Logan Paul's prime truck, which is sweet. It's a pretty cool truck, and I love the blue. It's pretty cool. He smashed the side window. Logan Paul was pissed. Logan Paul had already made his way out, so he was chilling in the ring waiting. He's obviously from, I don't know if it's Cleveland specifically, but he's from Ohio, so he's from the area.
Westlake, and I looked it up. It's west of Cleveland. It's about.
Okay.
It's funny because I think LA Knight brought it up on SmackDown, and he was like, "You're not even from Cleveland. You're from Westlake." And I looked at
that's what it was.
Westlake is. It's by the airport, so it's basically a suburb of Cleveland. So he's technically, I guess, from Cleveland. So
yeah, for the whatever. Yeah. I was like, okay, man. Yeah. It's yeah. But anyway, so Logan Paul, he was decked out in the Browns colors. I was like orange and brown, pretty cool. I'm always impressed with his gear, right? Obviously, he has the money, but he just always. Yeah. He just always has a way to impress, you know what I mean? He spares no expense. So shout out to him for that. But yeah, so this match, obviously, that was what I was getting to. Logan Paul was out in the ring. He was pissed off that LA Knight destroyed his truck. They started brawling outside at the ring before the match started. And I think it was MGK, who accompanied Logan Paul to the ring. He was out there, gave him some brass knucks at one point towards the end of the match. It had I think a chain on it as well. I think it was kind of funny because LA Knight got hit in the face with the brass knucks and pretty much just no sold it, and then the finish came like right after. So that was kind of funny.
I think Corey Graves, even at the end of it, which is smart. This is why WWE production wise does a great job. Is watching it back, he said something so subtle. He goes, Corey Graves said he might have not gotten all of it, but he got enough where that's why he was able to. So
that's why you need to say.
People like us were like, oh wait, he just got hit with brass knucks. Like, why wasn't he out cold? Corey Graves, that's what the commentary does. Development in the story was he might have not gotten all of it. So it lets you know, all right, he got hit, but maybe not completely with the knuck. So that was great by him. I caught that when he said it.
For sure. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. The moment of the match was that springboard moonsault that he did, and the way he executed it. The way that you have to see. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here. The way he hit it, it was just so. He was inside the ring. He pretty much pulled himself, jumped to the top rope, but as he was jumping, he turned. So his back is facing the Titantron where LA Knight was at ringside on the floor standing, and he just turns in midair and hits a moonsault. So the precision, the skill, the athleticism that it takes to not only hoist yourself up from the ground, land and balance yourself on the top rope, but to turn. But before you do that and pretty much not even see where you're landing on the top rope and to execute the moonsault, I was just like, what? Like you
Yep.
almost expect that shit out of Ricochet, you know, your Ricochets and wrestlers of that nature. But even then, it's like, wow. But to see him hit it like it was nothing, I was just like, my God, dude. Like, again,
I just
say
fast
what you want
forwarded
to.
just now to get it, and yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm gonna say it
better
like
than
in
I
full
thought
for
every
you.
time I watch it.
So there's a spot of he actually has a post of it on his
Yeah, probably pull it up there. It's probably better than to do it
yeah.
on. It's
So I'm
funny
gonna,
because when I'm watching it now live, yeah, and LA Knight checked on him just to make sure he was okay because I think the way
so this isn't
he
yeah.
landed very on his legs, and he could have
And he almost
tore his whole
overshot it
knee.
too.
Yeah,
He almost
exactly.
overshot it but that's just like it just shows like he could have like if LA Knight was 2 feet back, he still would have hit it
Yeah,
like almost even maybe even
uh-huh.
more spot on. But
Holy
this
shit!
is
So
him practicing. It was just I saw this, I was like, bro.
oh, I didn't see this. Wow, what a great edit!
Right? It's just a thing of beauty, man.
Holy shit!
Like I
Shout
can't
out
get
to
over
his
it.
production team for editing that
Dude,
because that's awesome. That is
right?
like
Like,
spot on angle wise.
yeah.
Like, how'd that even happen?
Yeah. Um so yeah, I say what you want about Logan Paul as a human being, his political views, whatever. Not gonna get into that because
We
we would be here for like a whole another hour.
could have another
Um
podcast on Enter the Lab about that.
for for sure. But yeah, dude, I again like I don't have to agree with someone 100% to have respect for
Oh,
them and to appreciate their talents, and that's kind of where I'm at with Logan. Again, I don't even disagree with maybe the majority of his views. We're different people, sure, but like it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? But I think he's fucking amazing. I think we are lucky to have him in wrestling. I honestly wish we had him more in wrestling. As crazy as that may say or sound, rather. I don't think I don't know. Like to me, he has. I don't know. I don't want to get into too many specifics, but I appreciate what he's done. I appreciate the respect and the seriousness that he takes for wrestling. He puts into the wrestling business. He could very easily have been one of those celebrities that just half-assed it, came in and just did a couple moves, hit a couple suplexes, hit a splash, and used his name to really just cash in. But he
oh.
did it. He put in the work. You watching it, so?
As you say this, the LA Knight run up to the top of
Oh,
the corner
with
and
when he hit the brain buster.
I don't even know if it was supposed to be a brain buster, but
No,
it
it was
was.
supposed to be a suplex. Yeah. So I was
Whoa.
watching it, and it looks like maybe Logan didn't get opportunity to really like propel
Exactly.
himself like back
Holy,
for
like just
far enough.
watching it
But
again,
yeah,
that's like taking a suplex in that spot is a big deal. Let alone a brain. Yeah, he didn't get complete. Yeah, he stayed crouched. He didn't open
yeah,
up his
he
legs
didn't
to
expand
fully.
farther. Yeah,
And man, and that's another spot that they checked up on him, making sure he was all right. He is just insanely athletic. Where
yeah,
if you put like a black image over him and like didn't know who he was, you'd be like, this guy's been wrestling for 20, 25 years easily.
yeah,
Like
and
transitions, selling,
yeah,
just
dude.
flawless. I'm telling you, I went from 1 year ago today, probably being like, I would mix up who's Logan Paul, who's Jake Paul. I always mix up the names on my podcast to completely all in on what so much respect. Because when you come into wrestling, the one thing about it is, do you take it seriously? Hence the Goldberg thing that we just talked about, because these people live, die, they in the indies, LA Knight's 41 years old and he
Been doing
just
this for
got his
20
first
years.
title.
20
So
years, bro.
this is a perfect example for somebody that's doing it for 20 years versus somebody that's been doing it for 2. And together they made magic last night. And
Yeah,
great match. Love the interference. Love him being a heel. MGK, Michael Call at this point that I'm watching. He's like, MJ. And then Pat McAfee's like, MGK Cole. Like, just corrected it. I
yeah,
thought that was, he didn't even try to do it, but it was like perfect.
yeah.
Love that. It was great. It was a typical Logan Paul brass knuckles. I thought they did well on it. And then boom, the finish happened. And LA Knight needed a title, needed something major to happen. We've been building this up for 6-8 months now, and glad it paid off. So this is his first title reign. Hopefully it won't be his last.
For sure, dude. For sure. Next up, I was surprised by this one, not gonna lie. The outcome of it, rather. We had Nia Jax, our Queen of the Ring, facing off against our champion, our women's champion going into it, Bayley. I really like what they've done with the King of the Ring tournaments as well, having actual stakes at the end of it, not just, oh yeah, I'm the King and Queen of the Ring. Now it actually leads to something, and I think I love the timing of it. I forget, actually, it had to be, what, 3-4 months ago now at this point, right after WrestleMania, but I love the timing of it, just in the sense that there was still a pay-per-view in between, but it was like, okay, like it was when it was Seth Rollins facing off against Damien Priest at Money in the Bank, I believe. It was like, okay, like I could see Seth Rollins facing off against Gunther, but I could also see Priest versus Gunther because we knew that was coming up at SummerSlam. So I just like that, yes, we know what's coming forward, but it's not, or at least this year wasn't predictable. Now, of course, that's going to be their challenge going forward each year, but I just like that setup, and we actually have some stakes going into the King of the Ring tournament and in the Queen of the Ring tournament, obviously. And it led to SummerSlam, and it all made sense. So I was surprised, though, that Nia Jax won. I am that outlier. I am a fan of Nia Jax. I don't think she's terrible. Yes, maybe 6-7 years ago she was a little bit. Yeah, she was a little. The shit that Bayley said, I was like, wow, like, all
right,
really
so real. That's what I
really
mean. Like when
shit.
it makes sense. Like,
yeah,
I love that, and it's such a heel thing to say.
Yeah,
but it was it's real. Like it's right in front of you. Like call it out for what it is. I love that.
Right. Yeah, I was still surprised it actually happened. But I'm again happy it did. Because again, that realism, it just brings it back into play more, and it gives you more material to work with too. But I was surprised that Nia won. I'm happy for her. I'm just very happy for her, man. As a human being, she's dealt with a lot of shit, and obviously I don't even know like a fraction of it, but just seeing some shit that because I follow her on Twitter, just seeing some of the comments that she gets and some of the shit that she gets on Twitter is like, get a life, it's like whatever. But as a character, I think since she's come back, since Triple H has brought her back, I think she's just improved. She's another Liv Morgan in that sense for me. Like she's just improved so much. I think she's gotten so much more crisp in the ring. There's like a different level of confidence to her, and it's like, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm here. I don't have to be here, but like I'm here. Like I can do this shit. You know what I mean? Like I know my value, and I know what I bring to the table, and I just love that from her. I'm again surprised that they took the title off of Bayley. To me, I feel like this is an inclination that Charlotte is on the verge to come back. And I don't know how to feel about that because we're not going to get into too much of Charlotte right now. But I don't hate Charlotte either. But I think that they almost make you hate Charlotte with how much they put her down your throat. I was
gonna say they shove it down your throat, and that was the last era with Vince McMahon. It was too much. Like we get it, she's awesome, but like, Jesus, can we get a break here?
Right. And she doesn't always need to be going for the title. Like, let her do something else. Like, let me care about her in a different way with not being the champion. She's, I think, already at like 14 or 15 reigns. So it's ridiculous.
That's insane.
It's fucking insane, dude. Yeah.
For a 30-year-old
she still has what 10 more years plus. So it's like, yeah, it's obvious easily. She's going to beat Rick's. She's the goal is to be his reign or his accumulative of reigns. But it's like,
yeah, I think that's.
Can you space it out? Like Jesus Christ. But yeah. God damn. But yeah. So long story short, Nia won. We did get an appearance from our Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. Her and Nia had made a pact that she wasn't going to cash in. So my interpretation was Tiffany was coming out just to kind of cause a brief distraction. She wasn't really going to cash in. That'll help to lead Nia to pick up the victory here. Bayley hit a beautiful power slam from the corner turnbuckle at one point with Nia. She had her on her shoulders and walked towards it. I think like at least 2-3 steps towards the center of the ring, and then hit her with the power bomb. That really brought the crowd up. That was just fucking impressive. I was just shout out to Bayley for that because like not to be funny, but Nia is a bigger woman, so shout out to her for being able to.
Bayley's got a dense lower body, if you know what I'm saying. So, she's got the power to do that.
She's got the glutes, right? She's got that leg strength.
Yeah, glutes. That's the technical
glutes.
term.
It's
Yes.
she does squats, that's her squats
I would
paying
say
off.
but that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, man. But I'm here for it. I'm curious to see what they do going forward, and I hope they make her a dominant champion until Queen Charlotte comes and fucking just kills her reign. So yeah. What say you?
Yeah, that's so I have the match playing now, trying to time it up well. And yeah, Bailey, I love what she's done since she went away from Damage Control. I think it was when she first came back, it made sense, and then it got a little weird. Didn't feel like it made sense after a while. They were just doing things just to do things, so that happens with groups. Like you're together, so things just make sense, or they try to make it make sense. Since she's been by herself and with the title, love Bailey. And I haven't really loved her. I like her a lot. I haven't loved her. This is probably the most I have. Promo wise, abilities, always in the ring is just always up there and one of the best. So I'm trying to think. Tiffany Stratton, I think, is somebody like a Bron Breakker where they see her as another Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. Like she has the look, has the promo, love her own gimmick of Tiffy time, and she's like you I'm sure you've seen the movie Clueless. Like she's had the clue, like she like the main star from that. She's just like everything is like I'm a Barbie, everything's perfect. I'm the best ever. Like I love that gimmick, and there hasn't been one of those where they had the look to go with that. She has obviously the briefcase, and I thought if you would have told me that a new champion was going to be crowned, I thought it was going to be Tiffany. She'd come in either during the match or after. But this match really caught me off guard for sure with Nia winning. I did not see that at all, which makes me think she might be transitional champion to either a cash-in or Charlotte winning, and then maybe you have Charlotte and Tiffany, something like that. So I could see, even though I wasn't disappointed by it, I thought Bailey had a lot going for her for a first time in a few years, that I thought they would milk it more than just from WrestleMania to now. I thought she deserved it to be a champion for 6, 8, maybe a year. But now you have Tiffany having the briefcase, so you can do a lot with it. You have probably Charlotte returning at I don't know. She's been healthy probably for a while, so she might return at Bad Blood or Survivor Series. But you can do a lot with that storyline too. Now you have the Tiffany and Nia are friends, and don't cash in on me. And all right, I won't. Then you have the Charlotte coming back, so you have a lot of things going on too. That's why I said in the beginning, every match in this event had something before, during, and what, or there's a few possibilities, and that's what you want from wrestling, and that's what we're seeing now that we're in almost the full year of the new era, because I think January was the start of it, truly. Let's call it January 1, just the calendar year. You're seeing storylines before, during, and after being like, wait, they could do this. Wait, they could also do that. Wait, there's another. Before, it was all like, all right, I see what they're doing. I know what Charlotte's going to come back, win it. I already could predict it. But now you're like, we have 3 or 4 girls after one title that all are quality people. So I love, now that the result is here, I love what they could do for this belt and with the cash in and stuff like that. So I'm excited. And guess what? There's not too many times I've been excited as a male to watch the women other than like a Becky Lynch and a Sasha Banks. Now it's like you got 4, 5, 6 women fighting, and I'm locked into their matches. Yeah. And their storylines isn't about sex appeal and all. It's about actual like hating each other or getting revenge or in the ring. It's awesome. It's good to see. Seriously.
100% too. Couldn't agree with you more. We will get to probably, and honestly, because the opening match, Rhea and Liv was actually, I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would, but I think this one had to be the totality and the story of it. I think this was probably my favorite match of the night, and this was maybe a little bit of biasy. Nice. Punk and Drew McIntyre. Now, there were some bias. Of course, sorry. There were some moments and some things that maybe I was like kind of like questioning, but as a whole, I love this. Yeah, as a whole, I love this story. I love the callback to the 97 SummerSlam. Of course, you had Undertaker, Shawn, and Bret Hart. So with me, and it's funny because again, when I read on Twitter, it's just kind of funny to me because a lot of people are like, oh, like they're viewing Punk as that dumb baby face. And this is what I was saying earlier, like, oh, that dumb baby face syndrome, where it's like, oh, like, how could you be like, why are you distracted by someone's music playing, like shit like that? And to me, that wasn't the case at all. To me, this wasn't that.
That's always funny to me. Like, why are you distracted by music playing? That's such a funny thing in wrestling for years. It's like, why do you stop doing what you're doing because somebody?
And it's like you freeze. It's like you freeze and you can't do anything until they make it to the ring. It's like you still have a good 15 seconds so you can finish your 3 count. Man. You can do whatever you're gonna do, but it's like, no, I can't do anything because I'm frozen for the next 30 seconds. So it's like, all right, bro. Fucking whatever. But so with this one, to me, and of course the story with this one was it wasn't the match itself, it was the story, obviously, with Drew and Punk despising each other. I don't think they really needed the inclusion of Seth. I get it, right? It added another layer to it and it just spiced things up more for Punk and Seth going forward. But to me, I don't think, especially maybe even right now, like if you wanted to have Seth involved, maybe do it after Punk and Drew had their first encounter, have it pretty much in the same way, but you don't have Seth involved, and then Punk is gonna want his revenge. Punk is pissed, and then that's when the referees are like, "Fuck, I don't want to be involved with these guys." Then you have Adam Pearce kind of freaking out. He's like, "Well, I don't know what to do. I can't control these guys." And then Seth is like, "I don't like these guys either," but then you can get Seth involved that way. And just kind of extend it maybe another month from now or leading into a Bad Blood. But to me, and again, some people are like, oh, it's stupid. It's like a 50-cent bracelet. It's not the value of the bracelet. And that, to me, that's the most laughable part of the feedback that I was reading. It's like, oh, like, why does Punk care so much about this stupid bracelet? Like, oh, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it does make sense if you just take a second and think about it. And again, I'm not saying like I know all this shit, but it's like, it's just kind of obvious to me. It's the symbolism. It's the fact that a fan gave him this bracelet. You don't even need to know the story, even if you don't know where he got it from. Long story short, it's a bracelet with his wife and his dog's name on it, and it means something to him. And the fact that it means something to him, Drew wants it, and I'm surprised Drew hasn't ripped it apart by now, which obviously we see why, because that's what I was expecting going into this match, him to just snap it. But it's the symbolism. It's the fact that Drew has been wearing something with another man's wife's name on it and another man's dog on it. And if you know anything about Punk, you know his dog is his
love
life.
AJ Lee.
Yes. Those are the two most prized things in his life. Yeah, is AJ and Larry. Say what you want about Punk. Again, like, you don't have to like him outside of the ring, right? But if you have watched even one interview with Punk, especially lately, this dude like gushes over his wife. Anytime someone asks him about AJ, he's like, I would love to have her on the road. Yeah. But sometimes you just don't see it. Sometimes you're just like, whatever. It's like he loves his wife and he loves his dog. So the fact that the bracelet has their names on it, that's the whole fucking purpose. That's why it means so much to him. Like, and the fact that a fan gave it to him at a meet and greet, that just adds another layer to it. You know what I mean? So to me, the fact that people are just like, oh, like, it's stupid, like, it doesn't make, like, why would Punk care so much? Like, I don't really have time for that argument. To me, the brilliance of this match, besides the storytelling of it, was the fact that it was everything that Drew was doing and Punk was claiming and kind of like picking on Drew and giving Drew shit about him being emotional, him letting his emotions get the better of him. That's exactly what happened with Punk here. And the fact that it's the roles reversed and that Drew got the upper hand on Punk, and the fact that it was Punk letting his emotions overtake him and pretty much just control the outcome of the match, that to me was like the beauty of it. And it doesn't matter if it was over a bracelet, what it was over. It was the simple fact that all this time, Money in the Bank, not Money in the Bank, but Money in the Bank, when he won the briefcase later that evening, Drew was like, if I win the briefcase, I'm cashing in, and he couldn't let his ego overcome him, right? Like he couldn't, or just set it to the side, like it overcame him. So the fact that that had been the story throughout, and that Punk actually found himself in Drew's shoes now, and now Punk is going to be the incensed one, and he's going to be the one out for revenge and things like that. Now, Drew, I don't know if you saw the press conference afterwards. Drew went to the panel that they had. It was like Peter Rosenberg, Big E, Wade Barrett, and I forget the woman's name. But he just went out there. There's nothing to. I mean, you didn't really miss much, but he was just like gloating. He had the bracelet on again. And he was just like, yeah, he was like, oh no, I'm there. Like, so what's next with you and Punk? And he's like, oh no, I'm good. He was like, I did what I said I was gonna do. I'm ready to move on, type shit, but he still has the bracelet. So obviously this is going to be the end. I forget what my prediction was for this. I think I predicted that Punk was going to win because it would incense Drew even more.
Same here.
But again, I actually loved this outcome even more, but I'm just still not completely on board with Seth being involved, and we'll probably end up getting a triple threat, maybe at the Bash in Berlin PLE, but I just think it's just not needed for me. It's kind of like WrestleMania 35 with Ronda and Becky. Charlotte wasn't needed.
Yeah.
Okay, but like it just wasn't needed. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it just wasn't fucking needed. But yeah, man. So what were your thoughts on this? And again, I just love, and I think, before I give it to you, I think Punk looked great. I think he looked in great shape.
Bro.
You could see he had a V. He had the little V. I was like, okay, bro. Like, when was the last time we saw the V? And to be in that type of shape, in ring shape, because I think it was like 17 minutes, maybe close to 17 minutes. When you really think about it, yes, he wrestled at the Royal Rumble, but for what? Maybe 10 minutes? Not even. He had a one-off match, maybe two.
Type of match.
Yeah, 2 dark matches with Dominic Mysterio that didn't go over 10 minutes, I don't believe. But that was months ago. And if you think before that, his last singles match was All In Wembley Stadium, and that fiasco with Joe, right? With the whole backstage shit with Jack Perry and all that. So the dude really hasn't been in the ring in almost a year, like full-fledged. So I was impressed with him. Yeah, man. What about you?
So the first thing I was going to say that you ended on was the physique of CM Punk. It's funny because I see images of CM Punk when he was in AEW, and now this man is yoked.
Dude, yeah.
He
looked like he was on something in AEW. He looked like he was on some drugs or some shit.
And people's right? In a bad way, drugs. Now he looks like he's on drugs in a good way. And a lot of people say
that's the callback right there too.
Perfect.
With the gear and everything.
Love that.
Right
That's
there.
amazing.
Yeah,
see,
man.
Nerds like us.
Yeah.
We obsess over stuff like that. Like I'm obsessed of that image right there.
It's just dope.
Yeah. So the first thing, physique. It's funny because a lot of people say like on steroids, this and that. And there are things that after you become a 40-year-old man, if you're doing something like this, that taking testosterone isn't a negative. Your body as a male testosterone does go down as you age. And it's harder to, I don't know what they test for. I'm just saying the stigma of steroids, because there's other things that you could take supplement wise, and you could be on a doctor that supplements you some type of steroids, but not needle in the ass type thing. We're not talking back in the 80s and 90s, but there are things. Most likely, like you look at a guy like Drew, like how his physique is. You look at him when he was 10 years ago, whatever it was. It's like these guys, when they come to WWE or they have the ability. I don't know the training set, but phenomenal shape. Not to mention AEW here. There's some guys in AEW, and I watch every week, and I'm just like, can you please take steroids? Can you please eat a double cheeseburger or something, because you look like you're hungry. That's the only thing I'll say about AEW. But yeah, CM Punk's physique, his body is in just 1 year's time has looked so impressive to me. Stamina. You could see him at the end of like
it's not really that good. I was surprisingly there's not like a good just still picture, but like you can see the V.
He looks good.
And just the chest and the shoulders, bro. Like you can see it. He was trying to add muscle. I heard somewhere he was trying to add muscle. Obviously he couldn't time wise, but like add too much. But
when he's wearing those cut tees that are like the you know how people cut the t-shirts to make it like a tank top, bro, he's shredded. So shout out to CM Punk. You can see at the end of the match, I have it on now. He definitely gets winded. Obviously hasn't been in a real fight or a match in some time, but you definitely see when he looks winded, he looks exhausted.
Oh,
and he's not
dude
selling.
Turns full red. It's like he just ran a marathon. So funny.
I feel bad for him.
Like, he just worked a whole day shift at McDonald's, bro. Like he's sweating. He looks greasy. Like my cooked. Dude looks rough. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So I think to add on to what you said, why do you think that Seth is involved in this? So whenever I see something that doesn't make sense, I go, all right, business wise, what would I do? You have Seth Rollins is coming back from an injury and has been injury prone, not weak injuries. He's exactly shredded. Seth Rollins has 5 years of three injuries that put him out for 6 months or months at a time, maybe 7 years, 8 years. So you're dealing with 3 guys. One of them is coming back from a knee injury, and Seth Rollins. CM Punk, who nowadays he's made out of glass for some reason. So I think business-wise, they're trying to make it so they have options moving forward. God forbid CM Punk gets hurt in this match. Boom, Seth Rollins comes in. If Seth Rollins gets hurt in a match or whatever, boom, CM Punk. So I think business-wise, and I think this is the new era that they're doing, is they're trying to set themselves up. So if an injury happens or something happens, that they have an immediate plan B or plan C. So smart business by them. Seth Rollins, I like that he's flashy. I liked his character. I thought him being with his gimmick of the shirt, the pants, the outfits, I think it does kind of take away from the match a little bit. It's taken away from focusing on the fight. So that's my only critique of it. Like Seth Rollins kind of made it about himself being the referee, where if you're going to be the referee,
my ring, it's my rules, it's my this. It's like, no, it's not. Yeah. You're not even a champion. And like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah, chill. Exactly. So I think, but also the business end of that is trying to make it like, hey, Seth Rollins might be the referee, but he's involved in this as much as the other 2 guys. So I get that aspect. The match itself, good. No, when CM Punk was, I didn't say I was going to mention the other company. In the other company, the last few matches he had, there was a lot of, missteps or mishaps that didn't go, whether it was execution, and he looked rusty and he looked not. Now basically everything he did looked pretty pure and fluid. So shout out CM Punk for that. But Drew McIntyre has taken his career on another level. That's just another guy they developed 20 years ago or 15 years ago, and then they've redeveloped him again. CM Punk, if he drops a brand new podcast or does anything tomorrow new, it'll be the best. If he'll have the number 1 podcast, he would have the number 1 talk show. He'd have the number 1, whatever it is, show in general, because that's everybody wants to hear him talk. I can listen to CM Punk talk forever. And in the ring, he showed, and it was a great match. I love that they did now with him being the ref and the kind of interference, but kind of not. I had CM Punk winning like you did, but another situation where now you could go that way, go this way, triple threat. You could have now CM Punk versus Seth with Drew being the referee. You could just do things. You could just, there's abilities to just continue the story without it beginning boring or just old. And I love another example of, we got another year of doing something like this, and it's going to feel fresh, and it's so personal too. All 3 of these guys, they're saying things, pulling back the curtain a little bit, like the way you treated me when I was younger, 10 years ago, the way you treated me, like it's personal. So love it. Nothing bad to say about this storyline, and other than the little critiques that we said, but those are only the small nuances of it.
Yeah.
The bracelet, the family angle, the personal, it's great. So I'm excited to see Survivor Series is the next PLE. That's the next major one. That'll be a full year of CM Punk being in it. And even with an injury that kept him out since Royal Rumble, still relevant. He's, like he said, still has his mouth still works. As long as CM Punk's mouth works, he'll always be somebody that you can watch. So I love what they're doing here. So I'm excited to see what they do forward as well. I feel like we're saying too many good things.
I know,
like,
right?
What's going on? A year ago, I think we probably did a podcast, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking shit, and I probably sounded negative, and I'll be honest. I call it what it is.
Yeah.
I haven't said too many negative things about WWE in a really long time. I like what they're doing. No sign of the Wyatt Six, which is great. Didn't take away from matches. Yeah. I like that.
They
could have easily threw that in there just to do it.
Yeah, just to get that entrance out there. They're promoting them.
Perfect.
Yeah, they're promoting them for Raw, so I like that. But next up we have what would solidify the implosion of the Judgment Day. We had Gunther, your King of the Ring, facing off against the defending World Heavyweight Champion, Damien Priest. And before we get into the match, the story and all that, I am very impressed with Damien Priest. I'm not going to say I followed him religiously or anything like that, but I had known of him prior to WWE. He was Punishment Martinez back in the Indies and Ring of Honor. I had seen him a couple, I think I went to like maybe 3 or 4 Ring of Honor shows back before it was owned by Tony Khan. And I know he was at 2 of them. I remember thinking at the last one I was like, man, like this guy's really good. To be honest, I never pictured him being like a world heavyweight champion, but I was like, I could see him being in WWE like a Diesel type, like a big for someone. Like that's what I always imagined for him. And the transformation that he's made, even in the past April, it's 4, 5, 6 months, in the reign that he had as the champion, I'm very impressed with him. So shout out to him and the growth that we've seen from him as a character and the confidence again with him, kind of similar to Nia Jax. I was just very impressed with. I am a little sad that Judgment Day is finally imploded now, but it was time and it just made sense here. I love the storytelling and the thread that they had with Damien Priest being pissed off earlier, barging into the Judgment Day's little clubhouse there, confronting Finn, be like, did you know this was happening when Dom turned on Rhea? And Finn was like, no, I didn't know. And pretty much like the lack of trust there. And I liked the fact that Finn left and that he said something to the effect of like, thanks for the trust. And Damien was like, Finn, come back. And he knew immediately like he fucked up. And it ended up costing him in the long term. And Finn was salty. Now, granted, this was probably coming prior to last night, or building rather for Finn. But I just love that added little ingredient that they threw in there as well. I will say, of course, it was kind of obvious that Gunther was going to win here. But again, I like that they did it. The match didn't feel predictable. And when Finn came out and ended up costing Damien by throwing Gunther's leg on the bottom rope, I love the fact that, too, it didn't immediately lead to the finish. Damien had a chance to actually realize in real time, like, what the fuck? Did this just happen? And his anger. And again, people are saying, like, he cost himself the match. Yes, but it's very believable if you're in a fight and your boy costs you your fight, and you would be like, what the fuck, bro? And you would lunge after them to see standing right there, and you would take your eye off the ball for a second. To me, that's believable and that's logical. That's what ended up costing Damien Priest. That sets our story going forward. Very intrigued to see what they take that and to see if it's going to be a new version of Judgment Day, if it's just going to be Liv and Dom as the new, quote, leaders type now, and then Damien and Rhea are still buddies, and they're kind of off doing their own thing, but they're still, obviously not a team, but they're still together. They still support each other. But you have Finn and JD as a tag team champion, so obviously they're sticking together. Carlito's just doing whatever the fuck Carlito's doing in the background. So I think the four of them,
Video
including
games.
the four of them, including Carlito, I think they're going to form a new Judgment Day going forward. I hope they change the name because I was never really a fan of the Judgment Day name to begin with. But
Same.
just really quick, and then I'll turn it over to you. Look at the progression here, and think it's very crazy to think Judgment Day started with Edge, Rhea Ripley, and Finn Balor. Look at this shit, bro. Look at this shit. In the top left-hand corner, you can't see my mouse.
Wow.
Yeah, you have Rhea Ripley, Edge. Oh, I'm sorry, not Finn Balor. Damien Priest. You had the three of them, and then they added Finn, and then
look at Dom.
Little
Without
baby
facial hair.
Dom.
It looks like a
Yeah.
baby.
Little baby
Wow,
Dom.
that was
Yep.
under a year ago. A year ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just, and think of what Edge is doing now. Like, we've already seen Edge. He's in AEW. Now he's been out for some time. Now it's just crazy to think of the longevity they got out of this group that started off with just a concept from Edge, and it actually almost ended very quickly because Vince wanted to have them be like the Undertaker and do like all these like extra shit, like have lightning come from the sky type shit, and it's like, no, like just make it believable. So yeah, man, I was a fan of this match, and Gunther at one point he was bleeding from the chest from the brutality that he took from Finn on Monday. He had some like abrasions that was still on his chest that obviously weren't healed, and then just I think it was a kick from Damien that just lit it up and just got it going again. But yeah, man, what do you think?
So Edge, the last thing it's funny because Edge gave Judgment Day to the world and then leaves. And now Judgment Day still going on stronger, and Edge is now healing up from his wound. No mention. Won't mention it. But yeah, Damien Priest. I'm a fan of Damien Priest. I like him as a person. I think he's a great dude. Promos will evolve, and I think you've watched the evolution from being a little clunky, a little awkward, trying to still find his way. He's gotten better, become the leader of Judgment Day, and he's great in that role. They've been teasing this with Finn for a little while, the Defiance, interjecting into his matches, like, hey, I'm going to take care of my business, yada, yada. I love that. Other than the name, the Judgment Day, I love the group as far as what you could do, and every faction has to have a stooge, which is JD. You have to have just like Tongaloa. You got to have like a guy that you send him out and he's going to get beat. Because when you have a strong faction of 3, 4, 5 people, you want to have a strong 2 or 3, and then you got to have a couple guys that are going to get beat. But it's been great. And Finn has been teasing this for a while and obviously turned his back. Now you get a Bad Blood. That's why I love the PLE Bad Blood, because I think they're setting up for so much very Bad Blood in all these matches that they probably will. Like every one of them will be either a turn or like something like that. So I like that they're setting up for that towards the end of the year. Gunther, he's a old school style wrestler. He's not the sexiest guy. His look is, I wouldn't call it mediocre. It's just old school looking. Like you could put Gunther in the 80s, the 70s, right?
Dude,
and it makes sense. Like his look is just but his ability obviously in ring is he could do at his size, and he could do anything. I'm interested to see his reign because all of a sudden he's not in a group anymore. That kind of just came and went without any mention. Obviously somebody like him, because he's not as skilled on the mic or promo, which last couple of weeks he's actually showed out pretty well. He does need a couple guys in that group to be a stooge or get some heat for him. Great shot.
That lasting shot.
So
the visuals from Finn were just great.
Yeah, they've been teasing Gunther as the next up. Last Royal Rumble with him and Cody at the Royal Rumble. He got eliminated by Cody. So it's been a year and a half as his rise, and they've done well by him, having him in a group. I think maybe they broke up the group because they want him to be alone and a standalone champion. I look forward to the feud within the Judgment Day. It looks like the collapse if they continue on. Hopefully there will be some establishment of, is the Judgment Day a thing anymore or is it done? Like, just come out on Monday Night Raw and just say it.
Yeah.
Either Finn, Priest, they fight. Rhea obviously doesn't want to do a Dominic now. Where does JD and what's Buddy's name?
JD, McDonough, and Finn Balor, and then Carlito.
Carlito, sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna call something way different. Carlito. So like figure it out, because I know they'll try to make it awkward a little bit, but like we could assume it's dead Judgment Day, so everybody's gonna go on their own. Yeah, great match. Watching it now, I predicted that would happen. Finn interjects, and now we'll get some good feud here. Yeah.
Look at the transformation.
The transformation in body, and also Damien Priest. I haven't watched his 24 yet documentary. Same thing. He was down in the dumps, overweight, not looking good. And then he made himself, he's somebody that doesn't have ties to wrestling. Doesn't have he's older. He's actually, it's funny. I listened to Jim Cornette a lot. I think I told you recently, just because I think he's hilarious, but also he's such a historian that the way he talks is outlandish. He also puts me to sleep in a good way. I listen to him before bed every night. But he talks about how he came from nothing. He's 40 years old, and that's not something they promote. You don't look at Damien Priest and think he's 40.
No.
Right?
No.
And that's why I brought up Jim Cornette, because he talked about it. It's like, that's something they don't talk about or even try to bring up how long he's been in the industry for, and he has been. And he's made a name for himself later in his career, like in LA Knight. So you always have to put the respect on those people that had no ties to an industry for 20, 15 years, have stayed with it, and they got rewarded. So I will always respect those guys way more than anything, because, man, in any industry you get yourself involved, any passion, any dream you want to pursue, for it to not come about in your 20s, in your 30s, and then you're now in your late 30s or 40s, and it finally does, it's like, dude, total respect. So
yeah,
I love Damien Priest for what he is, and now we got a great feud, and we'll see Gunther will have this reign. I think this is probably a long reign. Would you agree? Probably a year or so, maybe. I think he goes to WrestleMania, wins whoever he goes against, but this is probably not a transitional champion at all.
No, I don't. And that's why I've always been a fan of having the two champions. I don't think you should call one undisputed, because it is disputed. Clearly, there's
I don't understand that either.
Just take the undisputed part out.
That.
Yeah, just take that word out, and you leave Universal WWE champion, whatever. I could see him going WrestleMania 40, or no, not 41, to WrestleMania 42. I could see him holding a 2-year, because when he was the UK heavyweight champion, I think his reign was fucking 800 and some days or something crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
So
I didn't know him being
the thing with Gunther, he holds the titles for a long time, which obviously we've seen with the IC championship, but I don't see a need to take it off of him anytime soon. And I think that's another way to grow him and to really establish him on the main roster too. As crazy as that may sound. But the main event, and I know you're pressed for time, so I will.
You're good. No, don't worry about time. We're good.
Right. So, of course, this was another one of those matches where it wasn't the match itself that you're going into. Kind of of course, you were expecting it to be a decent match, but you were watching for one thing. And this is a thing I was kind of referencing earlier. I would have tweaked. I don't think they should have mentioned or even given any type of inclination that there's a possibility Roman would be returning on SummerSlam. I don't think Solo should have mentioned him at all. I think they should have just obviously have him be the elephant in the room, but you never mention his name. You never give any type of leaning towards one direction that he's going to be there. I think because obviously the people were so excited for him, but the whole match, you're just sitting there all right, when's Roman coming out? When is the interference starting so Roman can come out? I was kind of thinking they were going to, and I think this is probably what I would have done differently as well. Cody shouldn't have needed Roman's help to win. Yes, his bloodline rules, but Cody agreed to that. Cody accepted that. Cody knew what that meant going into it. Cody should have had his backup on deck, which he did with having Randy Orton and Kevin Owens there. I did like the little added notion with having Arn Anderson in the background, or not in the background, but backstage before Cody made his way to the front. And I like too that we got to see Pharaoh. Pharaoh, that was his last walk. Pharaoh is Cody Rhodes' dog. If you know Cody's story, he's been traveling with him
Beautiful
for years.
dog.
Beautiful. I have one of the stuffed animals of him.
Oh, dude,
But
that's awesome.
yeah. But man, again, it's CM Punk and Cody Rhodes have a lot of similarities, but if you know anything about Cody, he's kind of like Punk in that respect, that Cody loves his dog type shit. So it was nice that WWE let him bring him out, and I was kind of scared. I was like, oh, please don't bring him out to the actual arena, because he did that once in AEW for a pay-per-view and brought him to like on stage. And I think that I'm pretty certain that the pyro went out and Pharaoh was just not having it. He was terrified. So I'm happy we all learned our lesson from that, and he just brought him pretty much right near the curtains before, obviously,
Yeah, that's
Cody.
cool.
Yeah, he walked out by
Imagine
himself.
he brings him out and just attacks solo.
Dude,
I was
yeah,
like,
this
what's going
great.
on here?
It's fucking great.
I had no audio at the party. I was like, what's going on here? Is he gonna bring out his dog? That'd be sick.
Yeah. But of course, and again, the story of this match was the return of Roman Reigns. And first of all, I am not a fan of their shirt. I don't know who they had that designs their shirts, but the majority of them suck. And this one is no different. Every time I see OTC, I think over the counter. So
Ashley,
it's driving me nuts.
I was watching it with Bree before. So last night, I have to cut you off at this because last night I didn't realize I was at this time. Roman came out. I'm hammered at the party.
Yeah.
Like, I think I untied my hair. I was like acting as Roman Reigns, just showing off for people.
Yeah.
I rewatched it today and I stared at OTC for, I swear, a good 60 to 90 seconds. And I go, Bree, OTC. I was like, I can't get over the counter out of my head.
Thank you.
Get it. And I worked in pharmaceutical sales. So like, that's all I think of. And I'm like, what is it? I'm like, I'm like, oh wait, official.
I was thinking one tribal chief because Solo was saying he's this. So I was thinking one tribal chief, and then when someone said
if it takes you that long, it should not be a shirt. Is what I'm trying to say.
I felt dumb. I was like, oh, like this took me way longer than it should have. Like,
at least if you put something like that, OTC, put in small letters, official tribal.
Yeah,
like, good enough. I stared at that shirt. I literally paused it and I was like, trying to figure this out. I'm not that dumb. I know I'm hungover, but I should figure this out. And it took me a good minute or two. I'm glad you brought that up because that was tripping me out.
Yeah, bro. I was just like, I can't stand this. So this is a little collage. Yeah, right in the top corner. It's just like this is a synopsis of his return. Which whoever put this little edit together, shout out to them. But yeah, I mean the match was what it was. It was what you were expecting up until this point. There was a scary moment where not a scary moment, that's dramatic. There was a moment where Jacob Fatu hit a splash from the top rope onto the announce table, smacked his leg. Heard mixed reports that he was supposed to act injured, and that was the excuse for him to not go in there and fight off Roman against Solo. So that would make sense. There was a photo floating around that he was in a walking boot afterwards. So again, that could just be them preparing for that and playing up the story. Exactly. And if it is, I love that little sense of detail as well. But man, I think, and here's a better picture of our OTC. I fucking hate the shirt, bro.
It doesn't even look good. Like the letters OTC don't even.
If I wear that out in public, people would be like, "Why are you so proud of over the counter drugs? And why are you bleeding? It's not working." Yeah, so it's like I don't know.
They gotta scrap that. Bad idea.
They gotta do something.
That's a negative. Hey, we have a negative about
there we go.
WWE today.
Between that and their the people that they use, I think their name is like Def Rebel or some shit. I don't know them like outside of wrestling. The people who create their entrance music, fucking terrible.
Role model.
It all sounds the same. But the reaction Roman got, of course, was just unreal. It's still I being in the Philly audience and hearing the Philly fans chant "Thank you, Roman" and "We want Roman." That is when I knew the Monday night after WrestleMania. I was like, okay, he's a good guy. For Philly to want Roman and to love Roman, the same crowd that in 2015 when he won the Royal Rumble shit on him so bad, The Rock was like, "What the fuck is happening?" For that same fan base to pretty much do a complete 180, that's the beauty of wrestling. And I don't think this was Vince's long-term vision. But say what you want, Vince is the guy who pulled the trigger on the Roman Reigns heel turn when he returned.
Yep, I will give him
I
that.
think 2020, and I think it was actually SummerSlam in 2020 when he returned and just demolished the Fiend, and that's what started his epic run, which is crazy to think about. So yeah, I was never the biggest Roman fan. Kind of in the same realm as John Cena, like fucking get it, like you're the guy, like okay. But yeah, man, I think with Roman coming back, I like too that they didn't have Jimmy and Jay return to help Cody because that leaves them up in limbo as well. I think
You could
that's
always do
obviously
something. Yep.
possibly for SummerSlam. You have the original. Hopefully, they come up with a different fucking shirt by then. The original Bloodline, Roman, the Usos, and then you have Solo's Bloodline. You have Solo, Jimmy, Tonga, and Tama, and then you have Jacob Fatu. So I think that's. I mean, I know, but it's no surprise that that's where they're going long term. It's just a matter of when and if. But I could see, depending on how much Roman is going to actually wrestle, I could see possibly Roman versus Solo at Bad Blood. Obviously, it would kind of fall in line with that, but I don't know if that's too soon or too
No, I think that's
low of a
perfect.
PLE because it's not one of your
That's
big
in the
wars,
stadium, by the
but
way. That's in the stadium. They have to sell it out.
in
It's
Atlanta.
not an arena. It's
Oh,
Atlanta. I'm pretty sure. I could be
Bad
mistaken. Let me
Blood.
check. Yeah,
I
let me
think.
check real quick because I have it pulled up.
Okay.
Yeah. No, never mind.
I
It's
feel
in
like it
the
was in.
it's in the basketball arena. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought it
Okay.
was the football stadium. Sorry.
No, you're good. But I mean, either way, like they still. That's why I'm like, I don't know if they would really push to have Roman like return for his first one-on-one match back at just a Bad Blood pay-per-view or PLE. I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to hold that to not even have his first match back be a one-on-one match, have it be like a multi-man, like an elimination style match at Survivor Series, or you can have the Bloodline Civil War where they go back in War Games. You could do that. Here's the
Wow.
picture
Bloodline
of
Civil War. Bring it
yeah,
back.
man.
Wow, that'd be
Here's
crazy.
there's the picture of Jacob after the show in the walking boot.
By the way, for what I've experienced in as a basketball fan, if this is a shoot injury, walking boots are more to make sure that no further damage is done. So like I think the misnomer about walking boots was if somebody's injured, like, oh, he's gonna be out for like 2-3 months. He's done for the season or something. Walking boots actually are now more implemented in injuries to like prevent anything or to stabilize moving forward. So it's more like, hey, let's put in a boot so it recovers faster and better. So because back in the day, whenever somebody got hurt and got in a walking boot in the NBA, it would be like, oh,
it's
he's
like,
done
oh
for the
man,
year.
he's
It's like,
done. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it usually now it's like I've seen guys in walking boots and like 2 weeks later they're back on the court. So, but as a work, if this is a work, holy shit, what? Like you talk about details and things making sense. If we think what they're gonna do is what it is,
dude.
I don't want to celebrate too early, but this is brilliant.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
Dude, yeah. Again, I'm right there with you. And if not, and dude really is hurt, it's a fucking bummer. And it
didn't
not
even
for
look
nothing,
like an injury though.
It didn't look that bad. And
right?
When I read that when it kind of it was that was supposed to happen because it was to excuse him from not going after Roman. I was like, oh, that makes total sense. You know, it makes total sense. Because why else wouldn't he? Like he's literally the enforcer for Solo. So if he's there to protect Solo, he would absolutely go after Roman. So and that would neutralize Roman. So yeah, I will say though, like I don't think I ever got back to my one of my points, but I don't like that they had Roman come out to help Cody. And it wasn't directly to help
Not to help,
Cody. Yeah. But I still would have preferred that the match be over with. Cody pick up the 1, 2, 3. Cody's getting beat down after the match by the Bloodline. He's getting it. You can still have Jacob Fatu injured, but you can have Tama and Toa come in there and just fucking like hammering him and maybe hitting him in the back with a chair, whatever. Then Roman's music plays. They're like, what the fuck? It takes him a year to come down because it's like 50 yards away, the entrance from where the arena or the ring is. It's just insane, like how long their entrance aisle was. But which is standard with each stadium, but it's just like, golly, it's just so far away. But
all right.
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. It's got to be a work. I'm rewatching it right now, and all right, this is getting way nerdy. The first time he acknowledges his injury, and I've watched bad injuries as a sport fan. I've been devastated by injuries as a Nets fan. So like I studied these things. He immediately touches his shin area, then his ankle. And then he like tries to sell it more and then touches his knee again. And then he's in a walking boot. So if we want to try to ruin, whatever for everybody, but he touched a lot of areas that were inconsistent.
If you break your ankle, you're going immediately for your ankle. You're not touching your knee, your shin.
And you also don't move as much as he did. Yeah. And if we're having this conversation about like, is it a work or a shoot? Let's have it. Let's be honest. When someone gets injured and you tear something or break something, you do not squirm around. You like Aaron Rodgers. I know you like Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When he tore his Achilles, what happened? He immediately fell to the floor, didn't do anything,
Oh, I'm going to pull it up here really quick.
He just grabbed it and it's like, yep, just pulled something. I'm done. Watch.
Bring it up.
I just rewatch it just so we can have it live in time. Like I said, we're not trying to ruin. We're not trying to, but we're trying to figure out it's a work or a shoot. Watch. So he grabs his knee, shin, ankle.
He moves down. Yeah.
Ready? Watch, and then moves around. So I get it. Your adrenaline.
And he just braced off of it too. He braced off of it a couple times.
Look right there. Hold his knee. Kind of looks weird.
Yeah, he's doing a lot.
He's doing a lot. Like I'm telling you, not speaking from my self-injury, but like when you get hurt, I think shock happens a lot when you get hurt. Where my god, I just broke my ankle.
Oh shit! A lot of like when they tear their Achilles, it's like almost like they got shot. It's like
they say that's exactly what they say.
Like you're almost like what is it? And then it kind of sinks in.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, if it's a work, he did a great job selling that. Oh my god. Give him an Emmy.
Right.
If it's a shoot and he really is hurt, unfortunate. Hopefully it's something that's weeks, not months. But I think personally, Jacob Fatu is another guy they're going to develop. Does Roman Reigns need Solo Sikoa to be on his side? Or does Jacob Fatu need to be on Roman Reigns' side? I think Solo needs Jacob Fatu more.
Oh, yeah.
To bring him up. Because let's be honest, Solo and Jacob Fatu, Jacob's been in for what, 45 days? And he's already a bigger star than Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Solo needs him to big him up. So that's my kind of thinking long term. It's like, do you put somebody that's already kind of over in Jacob Fatu on somebody that is the most over with Roman and create a power couple, power tag, or power whatever? They could do that easily to elevate and make this. Or do you spread out the wealth a little bit? My question to you, what do you think?
I think I think they realized pretty quickly what they have in Jacob compared to Solo. And again, Solo is good, but Jacob is a notch above. And I think that if Jacob wasn't involved, Solo would be more of a prime player. But I think I think it's gonna be tough because the focus is originally gonna be on Roman and Solo, because Solo was the one that was pretty much shit talking Roman and was the one who took over his spot. You know, like he's the tribal chief, all that shit. So, and it wasn't Jacob who was claiming himself as the new
Yeah.
tribal chief.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. But I think that long term, like in the future, I feel like Jacob can be one of the pieces where it's like they're both fighting over him. And like at first he's stuck with Solo because that's the guy who brought him in, that's his ride or die. And why would I go against Solo? But I think over time it's going to be a situation where it was like Roman and Solo, where Roman was like, Solo, handle my like pretty much handle my light work type shit. And I think eventually Jacob Fatu is going to get tired of being the fall guy essentially, and be the one being the heavy and doing all the heavy lifting, and being like the call guy for Solo. And I think that could probably spark some dissension in between their version of the bloodline, and then they'll go from there.
Did you watch SmackDown?
Not all of it.
Did you watch the main event when they won the belts?
Yeah.
That transition,
him holding the titles
too. No, that transition of Jacob Fatu super kick into the Samoan drop into the back. Bro.
Yeah.
I'm turning 35 next month. In my 35 years, 20 of them watching wrestling since I was younger, maybe add that up to 15, 8, whatever. I've never seen a transition of 4 consecutive moves, flawless, powerful, and athletically gifted in my entire life.
And the speed,
it was a super kick,
the transition,
super kick, bounce back off the ropes, Samoan drop, somersault into a it was a DDT, like it was insane, flawless, bro. Like a video game couldn't execute that as well as Jacob did. It's insane. Like 4 moves in a row. Boom, boom, boom. All believable, all in sync, powerful, athletic. I'm so happy to be a wrestling fan right now. It's insane. Because I have I'm like, Roman's my guy. Then I got Cody, who's also my guy, but like not as much as Roman. Then I got Jacob Fatu, who's like up and coming as my other guy. Then I got Bron Breakker. It's just like so much entertainment. They got to spread they got to spread this wealth out so we could get and I know they're going to do it, the best quality matches, Raw, SmackDown, all that. It's unbelievable. As my SummerSlam just ended. Sorry to just fanboy real quick about that, but that was, I watched that transition 3 times in a row. I had it DVR'd and I watched it back like 3 times because I couldn't believe how smooth it was.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have to say about SummerSlam, that main event. That was, we got a lot of things moving. I'm excited. I'm very excited about where we're going. Hopefully we could do a couple more podcasts as the year goes on because things are
whatever.
Like,
but
that's good. Bro,
dude,
like, come on.
What?
Come on.
And he's a big dude. Like, he's not some tiny little guy.
He's lost weight. He's lost weight in a good way. He's put on muscle. He's lost weight. Man, I don't buy t-shirts. The next time I see a Jacob Fatu shirt that I like with the Samoan wolf, his entrance is awesome. Yeah. His entrance with the hoof. Dude, like I'm a super fan. I'm a mark, as they say, for some Jacob Fatu.
Me too, man. We'll wrap it up here just with a fun little fact. I'm a nerd for the business side. And this was I don't know if I can pull it back up here, but the power of Roman Reigns. Pull it up here, So read this. It says Roman Reigns generated $800,000 in revenue for WWE within 2 hours of his return at SummerSlam 2024. Soon after Roman made his return, WWE announced a new custom title for him. So pretty much, long story short, they made one of those legacy type titles for him to commemorate his whatever 1,000 long reign it was. It says WWE had 1,316 belts made, with one costing $600. All of them were sold out within 1 hour. It's just fucking insane. So within 2 hours of him returning, pretty much in 1 hour, he made WWE 800 grand.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. What a stud.
Yeah.
By the way, thank God he got his nose done, because it just
And
made
his
him
teeth.
a better looking. Yeah, teeth. Bro, I'll always say it. I tell Brie all the time. If you got money, meaning millions, get your teeth done.
Yeah.
Always. If you're on television and your teeth are, maybe you're self-confident, whatever it is, get it done. Because guess what?
Yeah.
It probably costs what? 20 grand, whatever. Small amount of money.
Yeah.
It'll make you look so much more presentable. And he got his nose done because his nose was like probably either busted or whatever.
His jawline, it just made his face more defined. The jawline.
Exactly.
Like, look at this shit, bro.
Look at that specimen of a human.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. Beautiful man.
Sorry, I'm sounding all type of crazy now.
Oh
yeah, I love the bloodline. I love what they're doing. I was questioning what they were doing with the bloodline. Like, look at this bloodline 2.0, this wannabe bloodline. But Triple H knew Roman's coming back. Now you're gonna have this mashup, whatever. And obviously, what will come out of it is Jacob will come out the star. And then that's when we'll keep it moving. So you got the Usos coming back, or maybe they link back up, or just Jimmy, and then you can kind of go. You got obviously what's his name that's coming up that I think Brie met him at Royal Rumble at a bar randomly. The other fat too. The younger one.
There's
with
Zilla.
Zilla, yeah. So I think Brie met him at a bar. She's like, yeah, I just talked to somebody that's like cousins with like so-and-so. I was like, you just met Zilla? Like, I was just like, where is he? And it was funny because they were out in the parking lot causing, it was like 3 a.m. after Royal Rumble, causing a ruckus. But yeah, you got Zilla, you got the other guy coming back from he was in AEW for a little bit too, the taller one.
Oh, Hikuleo.
Yeah. So you got those two. So that adds to maybe they don't even mess with Jay. They keep Jay on the doing his own thing and just have a couple others join Roman.
Yeah. I think they're going to get Jay back involved, though. I think him being out and him not showing up and doing anything for Cody, I think kind of was telling. I think they're holding him for a reason.
Another little piece, Jay, when does he win another belt? If we're future booking, where it's like, now you got him so like an LA Knight where he's so over his entrance, his saying, he's, I'll be honest, he's not the best in the ring. In the ring, not the best, but he has everything else. That doesn't matter. When does he win a belt? What belt can he win? Does he go after the LA Knight? Does he, does LA Knight turn heel? Like, you know what I mean?
I was expecting him to pick up the IC title at some point, but now with Breaker picking it up, and if they keep Breaker a good guy, I don't see that. Or if they make him a good guy rather. And not that I would even want Breaker to lose the title anytime soon either. So it's just one of those things where like they have so many talented performers and so many people that could be a champion. It's like they're in such a good spot. I feel like they haven't been in this spot, like in this good of a spot in probably since maybe like maybe early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, where you had like, if your 3 top guys go out, you have 3 guys ready to go type thing. So I don't know. I
said it before. Everything, the fact that we could have a conversation and you could name a wrestler and be like, they could go this, they could do this. We've never been able to do that before. It's always like, it seems like they're constantly mixing storylines together, kind of like slowly or like low key. And then there's so much that can be done. And obviously they're in a position where they're getting fed billions of dollars. Netflix.
Yeah.
From now Peacock ends probably in a year or two. I think they signed a 5-year deal.
I think it was,
they signed in 2020, 2021. Yeah. So that's probably up soon.
I hope
they're probably going to get another billion or whatever. So you're selling so much where more is more for WWE, and they're doing it quality, not they're slowing it down. They're not saying, hey, we don't have to do this all in 1 year. We we got years of this. John Cena next year, all year.
Yeah.
A full calendar year of John Cena. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's going to put on the best matches, but it's going to just be fun to watch who he could link up with. As I could see Austin. Why do I forget names?
Austin Theory?
Austin, you could rekindle that, big him up. Like there's a couple guys in the mid card that John Cena for maybe a month or two could big them up and get them over, which they tried to do last year, but John Cena wasn't around too much. So there's a couple guys in the mid card that I hope that John Cena puts over a couple guys that are in the mid card that he could put over. And then obviously at the end of it, put on like a Randy Orton and then have that final match. So that'd be cool to see. I'm very excited.
For old time's sake, whatever in me, I'd love to see another Randy Orton match for one time. You know, even though they had like literally probably like 400 matches in 1 year, I'd love to see that just for old time's sake. And then him and Punk, man, I think him and Punk would have a nice throwback.
Even if it's like a mutual respect thing, it doesn't have to be like I hate you and I hate your mother. I'm glad your dog is dead. It doesn't have to be like super personal. It could just be like, hey, I'm back and I want you. And it could be like mutually, I want you too. And it similar to like the Edge and Randy Orton thing that they did during COVID.
It was the greatest match ever of all time, right? Vince match, the best match of all time.
Dude, that is such a Vince thing to do. The greatest match ever. It's like, what? That's like saying this Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, before the game's played, it's going to be the best Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
How? How do you know? Yeah.
How do you know? Yeah. How do you know? You are supposed to know, but how do you know?
How do you know? Right. But yes, dude. My dog is right here.
2 hours.
Yes. So sorry to keep you so late, but I figured as we talk, you know, we tend to be long-winded, both of us. Wrestling is just one of those things, man. It's easy to get lost in the sauce and talk about it. But
yes,
I will let you go because I know you have other things and other shows to be watching. But one more time, just plug your show and where they can find you at and follow you at.
Yeah. Enter the Lab, Elvis Escobar, Fort Sama. Find us on YouTube. We'll be sharing, follow us on all social media platforms. Anything you post, tag us in so I can repost it for this episode. And appreciate having you on, having me on. Yeah. I'm used to doing the opposite. Right. Thanks for being on. Thank you for having me on because hopefully we could do, if we don't do anything between, hopefully we have you on Survivor Series and then maybe we do something like that same week. We have you on and then you have me back on Survivor Series. That'd be awesome. Yeah, dude, it would. But yeah, and where can they, did you mention your Twitter handle? Your specific Twitter handle? Yeah, I think it's Enter the Lab _, Instagram, Enter the Lab, everything. Enter the Lab, pretty boom right there. Pretty straightforward. Nice. Well, thank you again, dude. I appreciate you so much. I will let you go. Enjoy your show tonight, and we'll be talking, man. Well, we'll have a lot to follow up on, but until next time, my friend, stay safe and enjoy them shows, man. We'll talk next time. Have a good night. Appreciate you. Peace.